find your
Tim. Tim invited crap.
All right, is everyone's here? Everyone's good?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right, can you hurry it up, dude? It's fucking unprofessional.
Trying. Hang on, let me. I think we're live, but let me double check the thing of my Bob. Somebody say something.
Chicken.
How you doing?
Woo! Desktop audio is working now.
Smart talk, smart delivery.
Hey, chat. Let us know if smart delivery's working.
This
Oh, I know why the
delivery.
show failed. Your SSD is not fast enough.
I know, right?
Whoa.
You can't load the
Oh,
damn
bro.
audio. It's unfortunate, really. Chat, can you hear us? I'm not gonna really even do anything until I get the confirmation. Chat,
And
can
you
hear?
hear us.
Chat.
No.
They're saying, yeah.
Check. This is Cold Eastwood.
They
And
can't.
you hear the words
Yeah,
coming
we
out
hear
of
you.
my
All right,
mouth.
all right. So they can hear us this time. I'm sorry about that, chat. Thank you guys for hanging in there with us. Really sapped my energy. I was really on fire earlier, and now it's ruined. So this show's gonna suck worse than usual.
It's not fast enough.
We do
I know,
appreciate you guys stopping by. Thank you so much. It's RDX Podcast. We're live. It's working. We had technical difficulties a minute ago. I couldn't hear us. Chat's flying by. Shout out to all you guys. Hit the like button, retweet it, all that good stuff. I got a gun to my head. Let's go ahead and do some panel introductions. We'll do some patron shout outs. Then we got some fantastic topics. Great guests. Shout out to everyone here. Thank you for rocking out with us, and thanks for your patience. Cold Eastwood, you hit 100,000 subscribers today. Welcome to the show. Good job, sir. You make great content.
I don't believe you. No, thank you very much. It's good to be on the air where actually people can hear me. Yeah, thank you. We're glad to be here, and we're glad everything's working. And thanks for being patient and letting us figure it out.
Yeah, and the best part is I didn't change a thing. I just restarted OBS. So,
Yeah.
Holly Wafa. Also, we've got D Batch. What's going on, brother?
What's up? Y'all know who I am. Let's get on with the show. Thanks for being patient with us, chat, and let's go.
It's not often we get two intros, huh? We've also got, we'll come to the guest last. We got the Grounded Gamer, aka 100 subs in one day. How are you, sir?
Present and accounted for.
All right. Present and accounted for, he is. We've also got xCloud Tim Dog floating down from the skies on an umbrella. How you been, buddy?
I'm flying on the umbrella.
All right.
Mary Poppins, y'all.
Just very happy to be here. We got a good week, a very good guest, Optimus Code. We all love him, so let's get it.
Yeah, and we got Zalker87. You'll be at 100K in a week if the recommendations keep up.
And you better follow me in those recommendations. But this is all about Colt. Honestly, guys, 100K, the man with the plaque. I'm saying this again because I don't care. He deserves it. Yeah, hype it up in the chat. Honestly, 100K is a huge accomplishment, and we're all very proud of him. And he's a good guy and a good friend. So
The man with the plaque, what the fact? Hey, we've also got Optimus Code, developer himself, master of time and space, and he loves lean pockets. How are you, sir?
Wow. What up, man? How y'all doing?
We're doing pretty good, man. How you been?
Been good, man. Been real good. This foolishness is almost over with, and there's a lot going on in the world, but everybody's staying safe.
Yeah, that's what matters, man. And hopefully, chat, again, this is your escape. This is our escape. We try to keep it gaming and try to keep it positive. Everyone out there going through some struggles, man, everyone can relate, and you just stay safe out there. Darj Knight, by the way, says, glad you got it. Glad you got the stream moving. Have a great show. Of course, congrats, Colt. And remember, hashtag stay salt free. Hey, Darj Knight, you need to work on your crumpet addiction, okay? It's become a problem. There's crumbs all over everything in your house. Also, guys, we got to give a shout out to some patrons here. And again, fantastic panel. We got great topics. We got to give a shout out to some of my shout out to your patrons. Snake Eyes, Assassin Lupa, Alligamer 4, Frost did that shit, Tony Stark RDX, Running Lake, KY Bob, Foreign Object. We've also got Gab Queest, Teo, John Blue, Backballs, Deviator X, Obi-Wan FTW, Scott Trooper 74, Real Deal Neil, Suicide King. We've got Tasteless Genie, Michael Bowen, Guillermo Cabillo, The Legend, Chanogram. We've got Naughty Nubbin, Alfonso Hogan, A Squad, Slim 73. If you want to get a shout out, not quite that quick next week because we're running late, then join that patron tier and shout out to all the patrons. Your names are up in the top scroll. Do appreciate it. Giveaways coming soon there. We gave away, Doom Eternal to Cybernox last time. So keep your eye on that because I posted in there and a lot of you guys didn't pay attention to that. And I only had like a few people that actually tried to get the game. So, hey, let's go ahead and start with Xbox Series X and PS5 game confirmed through Destiny 2. And I wanted to start here, and we have more on this stuff later in the show, but I want to start here because Bungie did confirm Destiny running at 4K 60 for PS5 and Series X. And I just remember someone sent me this idiot, who is a young soul, this guy, who's basically taking something I said about the performance delta between the boxes, and because they're both running at 4K 60, I'm completely exposed. I just want to throw out there that by that, I don't mean one's running at 60 and one's running at 90 frames per second or 100 frames per second. Optimus understands what I mean by this. I'm not that he agrees necessarily, but he understands that what I mean by this is that they will have a delta in either visuals, resolution, frame rate, all of them, a mixture of them, whatever. This doesn't mean that every game will have 40 more frames per second on it.
And can I just inquire on something? Is this about Destiny 2?
It is about Destiny 2. Where you been?
Okay. That game runs on like the lowest end PC at 60 frames.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's not even a high quality game to really measure any kind of power here. So that's fun.
It should have ran at 60 on the newer consoles too. So
yeah,
the multiplayer definitely could have.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be noticing that this game, like throughout the generation, especially.
Who was this guy that said that? Sounds like somebody that doesn't really pay attention.
I think he's
there's always one or two games, sometimes one game a year that just runs the same on the Pro and the X.
I think there will be plenty of games that developers say, yeah, they both run at 4K 60, right? I mean,
well, there's
Oh yeah.
at the end of the
there's
day,
always somebody out there bathing in hot dog water and can't even smell themselves. You know, there's always somebody like that.
I am
Yeah,
55 years old, and I've never heard that saying before.
bathing in hot dog water. That shit's fire. Screen name, by the
Also,
way.
too,
He
is
says
the
Colt
best
Eastwood
deal.
is the perfect Chick-fil-A.
What? The
Man.
what?
No. He's a Taco Bell manager, if anything. Get it right.
Where is what?
You're the
I don't
perfect.
know.
Well, even
You're
Swift is
the
a
perfect Chick-fil-A manager.
Can you
Apparently,
imagine me like
Little hat
today
on.
you get some chicken fries and an Xbox Series X.
please tell me you got that chicken. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's that's an interesting claim there. Screen name. But again, guys, we do got to give a shout out to 800, 900 people watching live, guys. Already hit that like button, share it out for us, help us out a little bit. We launched the stream earlier, had some technical difficulties. Now we're trying to get back up and rolling. And again, we're just kind of jumping onto Destiny 2 running on next-gen platforms real quick. Confirmed 4K 60, both platforms. And of course, those who will take one tweet instead of the multiple that were made before and after that and act like that's a definitive claim that applies specifically to Destiny 2. I'm going to smack a bitch, Optimus Code. I'm not going to lie. But when it comes down to it, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on what you heard about this patch? And two, it's free. So there are, people were saying that Sony are going to charge you for every patch on their platform and stuff like that. It's not the case. And I expect to hear about more free patches coming to PS5 as well. I don't know why people think that Sony are going to make everyone charge for patches. That's just not the case. What are your thoughts on all that?
Oh wow, I have quite a few thoughts on that. First, your statement. I mean, your statement about like the performance delta. I do think that people are taking that out of context, and they are certainly waiting, like perched, ready, and waiting for some frame rates to be released, just so that they can come back and say, "Dealer, you said it was going to be X, Y, and Z."
Yeah, but I explained in tweets that that's through resolution and settings, not necessarily frame rate.
Exactly what you meant. Just like if I run a game on a 2080 and if I run that same game on a 2080 Ti, there's going to be a performance delta.
Yes,
and
sir.
We don't know exactly what it will be. It's going to depend on the devs, what they did. But at some point, you can get higher settings. You can get a higher frame rate. Like something will be different. But there are also times when the developer doesn't do anything special to take advantage of the extra power.
Yep.
And so then like you can tinker with it and do stuff. They'll just give you a bunch of settings for you to play around with yourself. The idea though is that running the game on a higher CPU, GPU does indeed give you extra oomph to do something with.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I mean, that is not a foreign concept. It's not anything bewildering, so I'm not sure. Other than it's you, and like I've noticed people target y'all, so people are just waiting for you to make a mistake so they can like pounce on it. But like I've said on my own Twitter account plenty of times, everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes. John Carmack, who's probably the greatest game developer of us all. He's made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. So I don't even really think that that's anything to spend time on. As far as Destiny is concerned, I don't know if Sony has an equivalent of smart delivery. I don't know. Like, it's just way too early for me to tell. All we know for sure is that Bungie has decided that they're not going to charge for certain content. I certainly hope that this sets a standard and everyone else follows. But even on Xbox, that's an opt-in, right? Microsoft offers it, and then the devs and publishers have to opt into it. So, like, Microsoft can't force their hand.
Well, the weird thing is, like, they don't have to use smart delivery, and they can still give you a free patch too. Like, there's been games that have been confirmed not to use smart delivery, but they're not charging you for a patch. So it's an odd thing, and it's not.
I think it's up to the developers. Like, I don't think it's Sony or Microsoft.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying, like, with the whole PS5 doesn't do smart delivery. By that, people are saying that they're going to charge you for every patch, and I'm not thinking that's the case at all. Because go ahead, whoever was.
So I was going to say, sorry. So I don't think they're going to charge them for every patch, but there is like a confusing message, right? Like, a lot of people thought, well, Sony hasn't really talked about it. They haven't really talked about like how many games are going to be coming with a free patch or smart delivery or whatever. And Xbox has been really harping on it a lot. So obviously that's an advantage that Xbox knows they have. And then you hear about like Bluepoint, you know, reportedly remaking Bloodborne, which is a PS4 game. And it's like, what can you, why not just patch that? Give the patch as like a goodwill to your, like, hey, this is going to be coming too. But instead they're making it a remake, which is not confirmed, right? But again, it's weird. There's a lot of weird messaging going on with Sony. And I get like, and the other thing is that Destiny's a third party developer. They're probably like, yeah, we're just going to patch it for free. Just like Cyberpunk is like, yeah, we want to patch it for free on the Xbox, right? For the Cyberpunk 2077. I just find it kind of a little weird. I think the messaging is weird to the fans.
You know what else is weird?
Sony needs to do something.
The fluctuation here. We were up to 1,000 watching live, then it went down to 7. Now we're up to 1,100. What the fuck is going on with YouTube? Like, I guess the notification squad hit the first one, and then we had to drop the first one down, and now this one's up. But again, either way, guys, shout out to 1,100 people watching this live. We're back up to that one. I got to give a shout out to Info Aquasave. This motherfucker's dropping bombs. $160 super chat. He says, how come nobody is talking about the loading screen and the PS5 Unreal Engine gameplay? Yeah, there was a little loading wheel, wasn't there? I personally didn't find it.
Was there?
Yeah, I think it was a little loading wheel that showed up momentarily.
Hey, what's that?
I think that was at the very beginning, right?
Maybe, yeah. I'm not 100%.
Yeah.
That's why I never really brought it up. But
some people are speculating when she was going through that crevice, and it was kind of like the Jedi game where you're going through, and you know how they masked loading screens. Some people were speculating that could have been a load there, but you know what? I don't even care at this point. Who cares? Like,
I gotta get some of these out of the way real quick. Everborn Saga says, congrats to Colton at 100K. Here's to the next 900K. So up to 1 million. I told Colt when I first found him in the dumpster, I said, Colt, one day you're gonna hit 100K. He said, no way.
I said, there aren't even that many Xbox fans.
Hey, Kid Smooth says, congrats on 100K at Colt Eastwood. Yes, thank you guys so much. Colt makes some of the best, not the highest production quality content when it comes to Xbox.
Yes, he does.
Sin, shout out to you, buddy. Lethal tells me all the time how you're fucking beast in games. He says, remember when people were pissed about Destiny 2 not running at 4K 60 on the 1X? A few years back. Yes, I do, actually. And they said that they didn't double the frame rate on that because of the server-side CPU usage was holding it back or something like crap like that. Also, Sinju says Cole's voice alone gets him to 100K. Congrats, Review Tech Jr. Also, I think I've gotten him. I think I got all of those. God. All right. So again, guys, thanks for what you guys do. See, we're back down to 850 again. So it's weird. I don't know, man. Again, hopefully you guys are able to.
So your shit's messed up.
You think it's messed up?
Mine's at
1200 on mine. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I need a refresh because I just got Info Aquasafe super chat again, I think. Oh, wait.
Mine's bouncing around.
No, that's
too.
the second one.
Jesus Christ, Info Aquasafe. He dropped another $160 super chat. He says it was the hidden loading screen where she was walking between the rocks.
Yeah, that's what I was
just talk on that real quick. I actually did notice that, and I, in fact, do believe it is a loading screen. However, it's a really smart loading screen because it's actually, there's still textures, there's still some type of movement, you have some type of control there. And it was really quick. It was like, what, 3 seconds? So that's still a big improvement. I don't think the next generation consoles are going to eliminate every single load time in every single game. I think it's just going to allow them to mask it where they do have to load certain parts in. They'll be able to mask it in situations like that. I just don't think we're going to see the traditional 20, 30-second load screens that we're used to today.
Well,
yeah.
Well, if it is 3 seconds, we obviously know it's going to take at least
42 on the
seconds.
Xbox.
Yeah, then I'm not buying it. I'm done. I'm not going to because of that.
But seriously, I got to give a shout out to Info Save, man. This motherfucker just dropped some bombs here, and I do appreciate the support, buddy. We do got other topics, by the way, but yeah, good questions about why would you, Optimus, you're a developer. You know that usually they do put in those pass-throughs for streaming, essentially, to happen in the foreground, and they do hide some loading there. What do you think the point of that was? And, that is a hell of a coincidence to have a little loading wheel there as she's doing so.
Yeah, I didn't see the loading wheel, so I missed that one. I can't really speak to it. But during the presentation, while they were talking, they said specifically that they made that small area so that you could see how the polygons interacted with her hand touching, and like they wanted to like highlight that stuff.
Yeah, you're right, because they commented on
it.
They got a new animation system, right, for like contextual touching and stuff, right?
Something that so that's why they say they did it. Was it an actual loading screen? I have no idea, but we'll find out soon.
It was damn quick anyway, so who gives a fuck, right?
Okay, so some people in the chat are saying that Sony said that there's no loading screens, but I don't recall them saying that there will be no loading screens. So that's new to me.
Well, didn't they say loading screens are a thing of the past or something like that?
And they kind of are. I mean, when they say things like that, they're just speaking like, in general sense. Like from what we see with loading screens, like they'll be so inconsequential, even if they are there. You're not going to care if a loading screen takes 4 seconds or 2 seconds. Like the PS4 or PS5 could be 2 to 3 seconds max on a loading screen. Like that could be possible. And on the Xbox, maybe it's 4 or 5. Like it's going to be inconsequential, and they're not going to have to hide stuff. That's what the whole point is. Like compared to what we've done now and what you see on mechanical drives, it's a really nice leap. It makes things more convenient.
There's no elevators.
Hang on, somebody has a question for Optimus here. Shout out to Raptor DCU 0. He says, Optimus, could Xbox Series X be using persistent memory with those 100 gigabytes access, Xbox Velocity architecture, and direct storage? ?
And that is a really good question. I don't know. So yes, they could technically, but I really don't know. And that stuff works really well with like SQL Server. Like Zalka can probably speak to that. It works really well, but they are really vague about what it actually is. And I know, like I said, a couple of people with the dev kit, and they're not saying anything. And Microsoft themselves is really unclear about exactly what it is, other than it's an API that lets you access the storage directly. And I'm not sure what happens from that. So honestly, I can't answer it. I need to hear more. I thought there was going to be a deep dive from them this month to go over some of that stuff. I heard that somewhere. So I'm not ruling it out, but persistent memory is wonderful. If you do anything with data centers and SQL Server, you will definitely grow to love persistent memory. And it certainly is reasonable that something like that could work with
it. Ain't gonna hurt. And things like GPU paging, all that stuff is like all these new features they're bringing in on top of the already ridiculous bandwidth and power there, on top of those RDNA performance saving features like BRS and all this other stuff they're doing, machine learning. It's going to be a hell of a time.
Developers have a lot of resources at their disposal. At this point, it's up to the developers. Microsoft have done everything to give the developers the palette they need. Their I/O throughput is not as good as Sony. Like there's just no way around that. But maybe it doesn't need to be. We don't know. We'll see. On paper is one thing, but actual game experiences is something different. And Microsoft have given developers a lot of resources.
And we don't know how much
PC minimum spec crap. And we all good.
And we don't know how much space Sony have in there in terms of virtual memory.
Right. Yeah, because their drive is kind of small. So yeah, whatever it is, it'll definitely be smaller than what the Series X has as far as virtual memory.
Yeah.
But again, everything's just on paper. We don't know until we see these machines and I don't mean the dev kit. I mean an actual machine off the manufacturing line, the actual devices. I am excited. Things on paper is one thing, which is why I was tweeting like the spec talk is really starting to get frustrating because we don't know. All we can do is say if this is true, that's true.
Especially
if this
when
is true,
so many people that don't actually know anything about it at all are talking about it, then everything becomes muddied, right? So we got to give a shout out to 1,400 people watching this live, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't. We do appreciate it. Let's try to get to 1,000 for the end of the show. And of course, more after the fact. Share this out. Tell your grandmother that we like to talk about video games. Maybe she's into it. And of course, we do want to give a shout out to Info Aquasafe again. This guy's just doing it just to do it now. He says, I call bullshit. Another $106 super chat. He says, I call bullshit on Epic's explanation. If PS5 is so fast, well, Epic didn't actually develop the demo for PS5 then. Well, I had said this before. I think if it actually maxed out that actual compressed bandwidth of that SSD, she would have flown faster. Much like that Spider-Man demo. That was much faster than what she was flying, and they did already confirm that you'll be able to run that on your own PC when that engine does come out.
I just want to say that Epic confirmed that when it's available for the PC, you'll be able to test it. So if it was specifically made for the PlayStation 5, that wouldn't be the case. So that's just nonsense. I just want to say something real quick to what Optimus said earlier about Microsoft not talking about the velocity and all that stuff. I believe Jason Ronald, I it was a couple of weeks ago, he did send out a tweet saying that they will be talking about it soon. So I can't wait for them to go into a deep dive about that because they really need to address that because you're right, everyone's running away with the IO of the PlayStation 5. We don't know all the details of Microsoft's velocity architecture, and everything that I've seen on paper, it sounds really impressive from just the little bit that we know about it. So I hope that they do that deep dive pretty soon. I think June would be a good month to do it, especially seeing how Sony's doing their presentation this week. We'll do it next week or a couple of weeks after, but they need to talk about it soon.
I don't think they should talk about like the velocity architecture or like the tech stuff like at a press conference because a lot of people go to those like when Sony did their deep dive. People
it's not going to be a press conference. I'm going to.
It's not going to be. I hope they release.
I'm dropping a little bit of information in tomorrow's video about that.
It's a Digital Foundry or somebody, to cover it. In depth with it.
Hey, by the way, we do have to again say hey to everyone in the chat, guys. I see all of you guys. This chat is fucking fire. We got the best chat in the universe. We do have to kind of move forward, and I want Colt to stop chewing on his toenails in the background and kind of talk about this next one because he's being a little fuckboy. Now that he's 100K, he thinks he's too big for all of us already. So we're gonna go ahead.
Actually,
as I load Fallout New Vegas in 3 seconds on my 2080 Ti. PS5 June event. They now this was delayed. Obviously, events are happening, but they did reconfirm. June 11th is happening, 12 Eastern, 11 Central, of course. That, hopefully you guys can figure out the times from there. They will have big games. We know that. We have an idea of a few of them. Colt, what do you expect at this PS5 event on June 11th? I expect big things from what we've heard.
Well, the first part that you guys probably want to know is expect that Xbox sucks and PlayStation rules because of the event. That's how the radicals will act. I'm excited to see what Sony hasn't really talked about what next generation holds because they've been waiting for The Last of Us and Ghost to come out. So I'm expecting to see some third-party, 1-year timed exclusives and a couple of really big first-party exclusives from their big first-party studios. So, and I'm also expecting to see hopefully a couple of big multi-plats that we're waiting for on Xbox that no one's talking about because they're waiting for these events.
Yeah.
Is that vague enough? I mean, that's really what I think we're going to see. It's going to be an outstanding event. Sony said they want it to feel special, so they're not going to make like a grassroots type event like Xbox did. Like, hey, we're streaming from our living room or I'm streaming from my kitchen. They're going to make it as professional and like an E3-like presentation over the web as possible. And everyone's upset it's going to stream at 1080p 30, but there's difficulties with the internet right now, and they just want to make sure that the stream is stable, and then it'll be full quality after the fact. And that's pretty much it, right?
Larky.
Is it going to be live or is it going to be?
It's going to be live, and people are like, why don't they just do pre-recorded? I'm like, they are doing pre-recorded. They pre-produce the entire event, the 1 hour, whatever it is. They upload it and premiere it on the channel so that everyone watches at the same time. If they put up the hour or hour long plus video as a video, someone could just skip through it, and in 3 minutes they would know what was going on, and they could start sending out press releases ahead of time or tweeting and ruining it for everyone else
but
watching in order.
What's wrong with premiering it at, say, 4K 60? I mean,
well, right now there's limitations throughout the world where the bandwidth is having problems.
That's not my problem.
I gotta say this real quick because this has been really bothering me. Now, I really don't know the true reason behind them doing it at 1080p 30. Not even 1080p 60. 1080p 30. Like, what's going on? If I have the resources to stream,
they don't though. Maybe everyone doesn't. Maybe they don't want.
Okay, Cole, but here's
60 frames per second. Sony and stream 4K 60 frames per second.
It's not them. It's the viewers. They don't want the viewers to get an interrupted experience.
But then why do they release each trailer at 4K 60 after the fact, after the show?
Because they need it to go off without a hitch live.
Well, those
as
people
everyone's seeing it all at the same time without interruption. They don't want somebody in New Zealand who lives in an area in New Zealand where the internet is slower, and they're constantly getting buffering, and then by the time the show's over.
But you know what, Colt? That's why I call more like
makes sense.
Toggles on YouTube where you could toggle it to 1080p. You could toggle it to 720p. Come on.
Like, as Steve's saying this, his voice is cutting out.
He's like, I like the malarkey stuff.
Yeah.
I agree. But I don't like their reason. On their blog post, they said the reason is it cuts down the extra time it takes to put the presentation together. And all of us who create content know that's bullcrap, that they can render the entire production in 3 hours instead of an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just run that overnight and they've probably already done the render.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're asking the devs, don't do it 60, save your time, do it at 30 because it's going to take you more render time. If you're Guerrilla Games and you're making a 4 or 8 minute trailer, that's going to take like 30 minutes to render at full 4K 60 at a high bit rate. So that's bullcrap too. They shouldn't have said we're trying to save on all this production time because that's not the real reason.
Let me give a shout out, and then I want to throw it to Tim Dog here, but I want to give a shout out to GameBread2. I guess his second account. He said, I wanted to donate, but of course the chat on my main account is broken. Anyways, love the show. Thank you for the escape from the messed up world we live in. Thank you so much, man. He says RDX Hype, and we also got Humble Beast, who says, I wonder if LG ever released OLED that is picture retention proof. I don't know about that, I guess. Thank you so much, though, sir. And of course, everybody watching live, guys, 1,600 people watching live now. And of course, to the 40 to 60,000 that'll check it out after the fact, thank you guys for doing what you do. Hit that like button. We do appreciate it. Tim Dog, I want your thoughts on this PS5 event, and then we'll kind of move around to Fonz and stuff like that. But Tim, what are you thinking, buddy?
As far as what they're going to have, or as far as this whole...
It's the 11th. Yeah, not so much the 1080p thing, but it's the 11th. What do you expect to see, and what kind of Twitter nonsense are you looking for afterwards?
I'm sure that they're going to pounce their chests, and I think Sony's going to have a good show. I watched Rand's prediction video, and he's usually good. If everything that's in Rand's video, I think that unquestionably they will be a lot of trash talking. But I don't know. I think they're going to have Horizon. I think that they're going to have third party. They're going to have Demon Souls remake. They're going to have House Marquee game, which is Resogun dev. They're going to have third party there.
Resogun 2 confirmed.
Yeah, it's an hour show. So, you're pretty much, I think, going to get a good chunk of what they're, pushing out. You're going to see their launch games. You're going to see probably Horizon 2, and they might have Silent Hill 2. Which, if you have those two AAAs, and then you have the other stuff, that's a very successful show. I expect Xbox to answer back fully, or they have to, because Sony has good momentum right now, whether you want to believe it or not. The SSD stuff has really started to get people's imagination, and they have a lot of hype right now going. So this is all this is all pre-launch stuff that you go through, and it's just going to keep going back and forth. As far as Xbox, I think that they might have something in June too. I think that maybe because of the whole thing that was going on last week with the protests, that put a halt to some of their stuff too. So I expect Xbox to fire back pretty quickly. It might not be, the games narrative. It might be some of the stuff that they had planned. And then the game.
I mean, you expect Sony to drop some really next level visuals.
Yeah. I think that listen, Horizon. You look at that, and you could say that's next generation. It's gonna look
crazy. Yeah,
it's gonna look really good. And I think that they're. I don't think that there's. To be honest, their pedigree and where they're at with their game studios, you really can't deny that. They're expected to, whereas with Xbox, you kind of, they have to prove it, So they're in different.
Well, they got to climb that mountain, right? Like
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, as long like I said last show, as long as Phil Spencer don't show up with a bow cut talking about a submarine, I'm good. Hey, shout out to Info Aquasafe again. He says this is for your Series X purchase, just cause. Thank you so much, sir, man. And also. Where was that other one at? I could have swore there was another one. I'll try to get to it, but again, I mean, Tim, you expect great things. We expect next level, actual crazy. Because remember, they're not going the same route Microsoft did, and I still think that was a mistake with their Series X debut. They're showing you next generation like AAA fucking crazy looking stuff, Fonz.
Oh yeah, they're okay. So I think that they are going to show. Of course, everybody's saying Horizon Zero Dawn 2. I think that's pretty much a given. I think that's going to be there for sure. The one that I don't think that is at all been confirmed or there's no real rumor about is Spider-Man 2. Yet I think that they could drop something there for Spider-Man 2. The biggest rumor though is coming out of the God of War camp, and they might tease something with the next God of War. Those three alone, those three titles I mentioned, that just kills. I mean, that just destroys that show, right? I mean, it makes it amazing. So I don't know. Like outside of that, what more do you need to see from PS5? Naughty Dog's still unsure of what
stuff we'll have soon.
Well, Naughty Dog's unsure of what they're going to do, so they're not going to show anything. Like they don't know if they're going to make a part 3 of Last of Us or go to a new IP, so they're not going to show anything. But I don't think that we're going to have long to wait for Horizon Zero Dawn 2. I don't even think it's going to be that long for the next God of War or even Spider-Man 2. I think a lot of the assets that they'll just upgrade some of the stuff, the textures and stuff. I think they're just making, I think they've been busy making these games, and within the next 2 years, we're going to see those.
Aren't Insomniac launching Ratchet and Clank though first? I mean, wouldn't they want to focus on that?
I don't know. But I think that Spider-Man 2 would be a big one to at least tease, even if that was 4 years out. This is Sony we're talking about.
Jesus.
They tease games that far out.
Yeah.
And I like it.
I like it too. I love it.
Let me give a shout out to Beaner. He says PS5 got a fat
I didn't hear what you said.
He said PS5 got a fat gaping pipe because of that. I can't read it, Beaner. I'm sorry. I just can't, buddy.
This is something we've always said that, Microsoft should do, and that is show your games out. Even if it's a few years out, just do it. Get the fans excited, because it does. I mean, for the Spider-Man fans out there, they will get excited. Even if the game's 4 years out, they don't care. They see it coming. They're like excited for it. So
I actually kind of have differing opinions. I think that Horizon Zero Dawn is going to be shown, but I think maybe one other game is going to be shown first party. And I think the rumors that were spreading around for 8 months, the past 8 months, about Sony relying heavily on third party and relying on deals that they had for launch. And for me, launch is not just like, that month the console launches. It's about 6 to 8 months after it launches.
Look at the set piece.
And so I'm just saying, I don't know about this whole, they're going to show God of War, Spider-Man, all that. I don't think they're going to show that many games. I think they're going to show Horizon Zero Dawn, and it's going to be a freaking graphical showpiece with the Dustman engine. I think that Guerrilla Games is extremely talented. And I think they might show one other game because there's also rumor of them having that August show, which I think they will start showing a little bit more of what their first party is doing. But like we've said before, and Tim said before, they are proven. And I think they don't have to really prove anything else. I mean, there's even rumors that we were talking about on this show about how they're not making that many PS5s, like as many as they did with the PS4, and that they're going to rely a little bit more on the PS4 to help them like transition this generation. And of course they are.
They're not transitioning.
Colt, how many PS5s are you building this holiday, huh?
Well, I mean, they said they're shooting for 6 or 7 million. To be available.
I thought it was like 5 million.
No, 6 million by March.
6 million by March. So like this is what I'm trying to say is that I don't know. I think that the people that want to show off is Xbox, and I think they have to show off in July. I don't think Sony has to show off everything. I think that
but they haven't shown anything new for like 3 years.
Well, I'm just saying, man. Like they're releasing Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us. Like those are going to be big games for them. I think they're going to even talk about those a little bit.
But and I think by the time PS5 comes out, Zucker, why am I getting?
I'm not talking. I'm talking about the show, sir. I'm talking about the show.
Why am I buying a PS5? Go.
Why are you buying a PS5? Because you don't know what an SSD is until it smacks you in the face, boy.
All right.
I think you can count on Horizon Zero Dawn and a tease from the next God of War. Those two, I think you can count on.
Hey, I don't think Spider-Man. I think Ratchet and Clank might be talked about, and they've talked about like that maybe being a launch, but I don't think Spider-Man's anywhere near being shown. And if it is, I'll freaking cry. I'll be happy because I love Spider-Man. I love all comic shit. So give me all that you want, but I don't think God of War and Spider-Man are this year. I think they show those next year.
I was under the impression that this was going to be a third-party showcase. I didn't.
And
really
that's the
think
other
they were
thing.
gonna show any first-party game.
I think Godfall is going to be a big showpiece there, and I think a lot of the third-party games. Yeah, I do. I think. Why wouldn't Godfall?
I mean, it'll be there, but showpiece is a stretch.
It's their only like launch title they've ever talked about, and they only showed a freaking one little trailer.
I'm just trying
about
to trigger somebody on Twitter. That's all.
Yeah.
So let me jump in real quick, y'all, because I'm listening to what y'all saying. First thing I want to say is that you notice how, like Tim said, like Spider-Man or God of War or Horizon, whatever, but like they're known established franchises, and we're waiting for the next versions of those. Microsoft is the only company where people say, what are they making besides Halo, Gears, and Forza? Everyone else, they're always looking forward to Pokemon, Zelda, and Mario. So first, like, I really don't like the disrespect that those titles get.
So what are you saying? You're saying why are people saying that about Halo, Gears, and Forza, but not anything else?
Exactly. Like,
because Microsoft don't make anything else hardly.
IPs. Well, sure, we want new IPs, but it doesn't have to be at the expense of those. They're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I personally am looking forward to those titles and others. But as far as Sony, here's the thing, y'all. This is supposed to be an hour-long show. And I don't know like what's true and what's false, but from the rumors I've seen, it's mostly trailers and not a lot of gameplay. If that is true, it's gonna take like an hour-long show with nothing but trailers is a ton of trailers.
That's so weird for Sony, though. Optimus.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they're trying to do. I think it's going to be awesome, whatever it is. But they've got to have a lot lined up to fill a whole hour with nothing but trailers and small amounts of games.
I'm surprised.
That's just not like Sony not to have like a gameplay demo. You know, like.
But they've already done like their gameplay.
They need more.
Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us too. Like I'm telling, like I just.
I think we're going to see some gameplay demos of the third-party games.
D-Batch, drop the info. Go ahead.
For sure, we're going to see some third-party play for sure. I think they're going to show the new Assassin's Creed Valhalla running at 60 frames per second on the PlayStation.
Oh, here we go again. He lied to me.
But for real, I think we're going to see some gameplay third-party games. I was saying, I was under the impression that they were mostly going to show some third-party games. I was hoping maybe at the end would tease maybe one first-party game. I think we're going to see some exclusive third-party games like for a year, 6 months. But I wasn't really banking on first-party games to be shown at this event. I was thinking they would show it at a later event.
Look at this.
Why are we only talking about like the games? Woo. They haven't even shown us the fucking console. So like how long of the show are they going to show us the console and show us what it is? And
I think when they show the console, I think when they show the console, that's when they're going to show first-party games.
Dealer, tell us about the yield.
I like yields. Like I yielded this gameplay from Red Dead 2.
You just got smoked by a guy in a train too.
That has nothing to do with
Soccer
anything.
was just saying, I think it'd be a good opportunity to kind of talk about that little rumor. It's a big. Who knows if it's true?
Yields on PS5 are kind of interesting because they are stuck with 36 CU for backwards compatibility's sake, and they've clocked it to hell. So to get silicon of high enough quality to actually clock that high and sustain it at the rates that Cerny's talking about, you need a very good piece of silicon to do that. Meaning your yield demands are much higher, and you need something that can handle a lot of voltage and withstand some heat and clock that high in the first place. So yeah, their yield demands naturally are going to be a little bit higher than perhaps something that clocks lower.
And to add some credence to that, of all the new AMD laptops that are releasing this year, only one of them has the smart shift delivery on it. Only one of the laptops, and you can't, it's not going to be largely available either. So, be some truth to the yields with that technology.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to, it said almost 1,800 watts. I don't know what it says now. It's changing a lot for me. I might have a glitch going on, but it said almost 1,800 watching live, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't. Share us out. We do appreciate it, guys. Retweet it. Shout out to Sin as well. Are you doing
a variable clock on your...
I am, apparently. I don't know. Ever since
that's what it is.
Since we had some technical difficulties with the first time around, restarted it, and yeah, the live stuff has been all over the place, but when I refresh it, it's fixed. So it must be on my end alone. Sin, by the way, says, look, Sony, just give me a look at a box and officially announce Demon Souls remake, and I'll be happy. Yeah. Expect to see something like Demon Souls there probably as well. So that's going to be a remake. So Sin should be quite happy there. But the event's going to be good. Competition drives innovation. You want Sony to do good. That when Microsoft realized what they need to bring in July, right? The June stuff.
See what that box looks like.
Yeah, we all do. I'm interested in the cooling system alone because 2200 megahertz is insane, especially for a console, and that's the point of smart delivery or smart shit.
Yeah, there's been some really cool concepts. Like there's VR for Player. I use his footage a lot in my videos. He makes these really fantastic, highly talented 3D models where he spins them around and cuts in gameplay. You should go check out his channel. But he's been he's done 8 different concepts of what the PS5 could look like. And they're pretty grounded in what they could do, and they're also we know this thing's gonna be thick enough to house all this power. And some people in the chat are asking why do you bots talk about PlayStation so much?
As they're in an Xbox podcast while they're attacking everybody who doesn't just worship Sony on Twitter. Yeah,
yeah. I'm looking forward to
laugh in the background.
I'm going to buy the PS5. I want to know what it looks like, and I want to know those big games that I'm going to play.
How come? My question to him is, how come you can't give props to anybody that isn't Sony? Right?
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, that's all of us here. No matter what we say about Sony's platform, we speak from the heart, straight up, whether you guys want to believe us or not. But also, we actually go out and buy Sony software. We buy the hardware. We buy the accessories. So have a right to speak on it because we also buy it. We're also consumers, whereas a lot of the PlayStation fans don't go out and support Xbox. They don't play on the platform. Some of them have never played any of the games, and yet they're criticizing them.
You'd have to put one of those metal head devices from Saw 1 on their head just to get them to even say a compliment about it. This isn't World War III. This isn't you guys are crazy. So just enjoy your good games, right? It's 2020, guys. Crawl the dumpster from 2014. Right, and come forward.
The submarine, you mean?
Yeah, the submarine. Tell Donnie D we said hi, and just try to enjoy gaming, mellow out a little bit. You've been doing this for far too long. You still be this passionate about plastic when it comes to what's better than what. All right, everything has its ups and downs. PC included. Optimus code.
PC is trash.
I saw him going at some PC guys, man. I'm like, God damn, you're going hard on this shit.
No, Optimus, PC is excellent. I don't got no problem with the PC. It's just the PCM are the ones that think that they so much smarter than everybody and so arrogant.
Went out and bought their pre-built and they're like,
Hey, Optimus, what game right now can you get on PC that requires an SSD to be installed on it?
That's finished.
Stars. Oh, that's none.
None. Right.
What's that game?
There's 2 that are highly
Citizen.
recommended. Kingdom Come and Star Citizen are highly recommended, but you can run them on.
I think Flight Sim also is highly recommended.
Which one?
The new Microsoft Flight Sim, I think, is also highly recommended.
What about the Shower with Your Dad simulator? You think that one needs an SSD?
Shower with Your Dad? Yeah, Shower with Your Dad too.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Okay. He's talking about genital jousting. What about genital jousting with the SSD?
I don't know nothing about that.
I'm gonna buy you that on Steam.
Are you looking to Curtis Optimus Code develop the game? Let's go ahead and move forward. Last of Us 2 meta predictions, real quick. Code. What are your thoughts, and where do you think this is going to come in on Metacritic? Last of Us 2.
97, 98.
Really, that high, even with all the controversy, huh?
Well, I mean, I'm ignoring the user reviews. I'm talking about the reviewer reviews. Yeah, 97, 98.
Okay.
I expect them to be fair-minded, and I mean, the way that what they're getting out of that machine is just phenomenal. And I've seen the leaks. I've seen a lot of the stuff. Man, the game just looks fantastic.
I would say 92, 93. Because I think there will be, if the leaks are true, and certain things happen, then we're not going to spoil anything, but not that Kiss Mood hadn't already spoiled it from the world.
Oh my God.
But yeah, if that stuff happens, I would say 92, 93, just for the fact that, whatever. Colt, what about you?
I want to say 95. I think it's going to be a notch above God of War for Metacritic. Because I'm thinking, since it's open world, it's bigger story, more character driven even than God of War, that it's going to be 95. That's my number.
Okay. It won't be better than God of War no matter what, though, even if the number's higher. What about you, Zucker?
I think it's gonna be a 91 to 93.
And then
I think it's good. I don't know, but who knows what happens, right? Comes out 99. Fuck it.
What about the Optimus?
What did Colt say?
Never mind.
No, Colt said 95.
96.
You say 96. And Tim Dog, The Price is Right.
Sounds like he's on Price is Right.
Yeah, I know. What did he put? Tim Dog, are you playing Price is Right too?
Yeah, 94.
94. So everyone's in the 90s, chat. What are you at? Let us know.
What are you at, dealer?
I said it. 92 to 94.
I don't
right?
listen to you.
Okay. We got an 88, 86 in the chat. Chat, let us know what you think these scores are going to come in at. 95, 94, 94.
Snake Eyes comment, which I won't read out loud.
Oh god. Oh god.
That's funny.
Shout out to Snake Eyes. Another 94. So most people in the chat think 90s.
Lons, what about when you get on the horse and you're like, man, this ain't nothing like Red Dead 2? Are you gonna push past that bias?
That's not gonna hurt my
Hopefully
score
it's
at all.
nothing like that game.
How dare you, soccer?
Gaming Forte. Gamer Forte says a 92 overall.
Yeah, anybody who thinks that this is going to be under a 90 is just crazy. Even with all the hate and stuff that's going on, there's no way it's going to get under a 90. Those are just some people that are, using unsalted butter for deodorant or something. I don't know. Those are just weirdos.
Axis set of 12.
I agree with you there, because the animations, they look honestly, I haven't seen animations look good in a video. I can't front. And it's going to be a technical masterpiece, and yeah, I think it's going to get a high score for sure.
Okay. Let me. God, this chat's crazy. Let me try to get to this.
Dude, it's just moving.
Steven, shout out to you, buddy. Says, how will Series X physical game covers look like? I expect all the cases. They're just going to say Xbox on them. I think, because you're gonna have Lockhart. You're gonna have Series X. They're just gonna have Xbox on them. And they'll phase out the old cases and discs, and used market will be there. But at the end of the day, yeah, they'll update that for sure. And everything will just say Xbox on them. That's what I expect anyway. But hey, I'm just one guy. Let's also give a shout out to Bounty Boom, by the way, $10 super chat. Says, that's the only reason why I actually listen to this podcast. RDX, tell it like it is. But I will never support Sony again after they take my money and didn't refund it. I mean, you should have gave us the backstory in that, Bounty Boom. So apparently, he tried to get a refund or something, and they wouldn't do it.
I heard a long time, very prominent PlayStation fan. I've seen it on Twitter. He's switching to PC because something he didn't even do, was innocent of, and Sony locked him out of his account and all of his digital purchases, and everything is gone. And for whatever reason, he's having a really hard time communicating with him. So he says he's on the PC now. So that is a thing, man. You got to be careful.
That's weird.
Big time. Sony just got fined in Europe for that. Millions of dollars they had to pay not giving consumers refunds. Actually,
I remember who would Darj Knight shared it on Twitter and said, "For the players, that lawsuit."
Interesting.
I died. Shout out to Darj Knight, the crumpet obsessed Brit. We've got. Everyone gave their Metacritic predictions. Ori developer dropped some truth bombs. That will sound very reminiscent if you listen to this channel or this. My fucking cat is going nuts. I might have to throw a stick at him or something.
Hey, let me say real quick while you're setting that up. If a mod times you out for 300 seconds or whatever for being a dip nugget, just when you come back, just be a little nicer, and you can stick around and talk to people and actually have a good time.
Hey, speaking of nicer, J-Mo says congrats to Tim on the weight loss. Proud of you, bro.
Yeah,
nice. Tim, what's the progress there, buddy?
He lost 3 pounds.
No, I'm down. Right now I'm down. Let me see what I was down for 12 pounds right now.
I'm Tim Dog, and I lost 12 pounds on the Crack Rock diet.
2 weeks, yeah.
12 pounds for 12
well. Thank you.
Lost weight eating Xbox games. 60 calories a piece.
Hey, Blastoise says if Series X has 100 gigabytes of instant access memory, won't it be fast as hell as well? Will it keep up? That's why I was saying that we don't know how much virtual memory the PS5 has. So there's still questions there. And while PS5 has an SSD throughput advantage, we just don't know enough. And add to that the extra 100 plus gigs of actual RAM bandwidth that the Series X has over the PS5 and how that'll counteract any of that as well. On top of a faster CPU, GPU, and then add to that none of that really pumps out graphics. So
Code said it best. Yeah. He definitely said, well, once we see him actually playing games, then we'll see.
I'm wondering if they even showcase anything that really utilizes that full potential of that SSD.
Well, let me say real quick, Fonz.
Hang on, Midway real quick. He says, love the show. He's got a code for Game Pass Ultimate to drop in the chat. Go ahead and drop it, brother. He says, congrats, Colt, as well. Keep using that.
Thanks, man.
Fire music.
I should have said this when you asked me about the event reaction. A lot of people are going to be saying, now that right there is what that PS5 SSD is capable of. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be very difficult or next to impossible to discern on a gameplay or a trailer what an SSD is doing in the workhorse behind the curtain.
Exactly.
But we will see next level stuff on Sony's stage because they're going to do that because Xbox didn't.
And we're going to have a lot of people that see amazing visuals like most of Sony's games already have. And they're going to say that's because of an SSD when it's got nothing to do with it.
God of War's running on it.
Look at what they're pulling out of a 4 teraflop machine.
And fucking 1.8, right? But it's all about their art direction, their teams, and the time they give those teams, and the talent there as well. I want to give I also want to talk about this Ori developer, and keep in mind, people always say, take the developers at their word, or really pay attention to what developers say, and I've always agreed with that. And it's just so funny because he worded it almost exactly how I've been saying this as well, and Code has been saying this. People got to pay the fuck attention because you can't go from you got to trust the developer's word on one thing, like PS5 is very easy to develop for, which we've also said. We've been hearing the same thing. Cerny's harped on it, to, this time don't count. So Ori developer says that the SSD will do nothing for multiplats, essentially nothing, because the lowest common denominator will be on PC and other platforms. The games developed for other drives, like a 7200 RPM drive, Red Dead 2, run at ultra settings, 144 frames per second, on a 7200 RPM drive, which is a fraction of a fraction of the Series X SSD drive, not even counting the virtual memory. So it's not even close, is my point, to the drive that's slower than the PS5s. And you can still get all those visuals. So that's the thing. People got to understand the difference between gameplay design and actual graphics. And gameplay design is what will be held back by a slower drive, whereas graphics through machine language, x86, will scale and get pushed by the CPU, GPU, RAM, etc. So, Code, seeing that the Ori developer said the same thing, you and I have agreed on this forever and always have and never have changed stances on this. And this is the thing people don't know, I guess, because they don't pay attention or watch. They're not informed. But the SSD will do essentially nothing, as we covered in our last show together, on games that are made for a lesser drive.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to go away. This same time, the next generation is going to be the exact same conversation. Third-party have to focus on the lowest common denominator. Now, they don't have to, but it'd be foolish if they didn't. And it's the same reason why no one designs a game for 2080 Ti only. They would be losing 3/5 of their user base if they did.
Yep.
So they design for the lowest common denominator, and then they add graphical punch for the higher end cards, but it's just prettier versions of the same game.
And it's impossible to do it any other way, because then the industry goes under as pretty much a whole if you make everything for a 2080 Ti only.
Right. Like now with Xbox, though, I am hoping they raise the minimum spec. And that's one of the good things about PC is that even though there is a minimum spec, developers at any time can pretty much raise it, and they can say, this is the standard for us. And hopefully at some point that whole thing raises to at least a non-mechanical drive.
Like even a SATA-driven SSD, which is still a fraction of as fast as a Series X SSD.
Yep, and Linus did a tech talk because people keep saying SSD. There are certain of us anymore when we say SSD, we use it as shorthand for all of the IO throughput tech. SSD is just a shorter way to say all of that. But Linus ran a blind test where they had 3 machines and they had like super high speed SSD and so on and so forth, different ones, and they were like, okay, they had like 4 or 5 different people play each machine, and they were like, tell us which one is the super fast, so on and so forth. And like everybody almost got it wrong. And the point of the demonstration was that there's a point of diminishing returns if you only look at the drive. You need all of this other stuff to go along with it, which is the whole throughput. And again, I've said this before, just because you praise Michael Jordan doesn't mean that you hating on LeBron. Xbox has some really good stuff. They have focused on high data speed transfer. They just didn't go as far as Sony did in this one department, but they invested in other areas. So again, everything's on paper. Right now, we don't know. But the thing we do know for sure is that the lowest common denominator is not going to be either one of those. That's the highest common denominator, actually.
Yep.
So you're going to have to design for PCs, which is 10. Right now, the average PC spec, and I looked right before this show, the average PC spec, minimum spec, is a GTX 960 with a mechanical drive. That has to change.
Jeez.
So 2 teraflops.
that just has to change. And so as long as third-party developers want to sell to that audience, they absolutely positively cannot take advantage of any SSD tech on Microsoft or Sony's end unless they're willing to invest and design multiple versions, which is cost prohibitive. It can be done, which is, what the rumors Microsoft is doing with Halo. Like they're trying to make sure that a version of Halo Infinite really showcases the hardware, but then still runs on the older hardware. The only way to do that is to build 2 versions, and the rumors are they're really cashing out to make sure that happens, which I'm excited about.
That's the best thing about graphics, though. Optimus is we don't have that problem when you got a better GPU with far better ray tracing. You will see that.
Sure, but that's the graphics again. The design wise, from what I'm hearing, they're actually designing the game to take advantage of some stuff.
Yeah, I know what you're saying there. I'm just saying I'm basically bringing that other side of the coin up because people always talk about the SSD. And really not knowing that the SSD really isn't going to be utilized to its full potential because the design will not be redone from the ground up. Whereas that extra power on the Series X will actually come through on most games.
That's true. That is true. The power can be used regardless of the design. The design is handicapped by the hardware. The design is set. It's set for everything. But yeah, the graphics can scale and take advantage of all the other aspects of the system.
Yes, sir.
100%.
Optimus, don't a ton of PC gamers, like a large, maybe, I don't know, half of the PC gamers have an SSD that they are installing games, or are many of them using like a mechanical drive to store a good chunk of their library or play their games? Like, we're wondering, like, in a year.
He just read you like the average minimum spec or whatever, right? Or the average spec.
We're wondering, like, is it going to be at the end of this year? Are they going to start making minimum spec an SSD? Like, you don't even see it on the spec sheet. It just says how much storage you need.
Man, I wish I knew, Cole. I don't know. Congrats on 100,000, by the way. You deserve it. I really don't know. I don't know if you guys follow Red Gaming Tech, but he has a really technical show. He's like in the category of Digital Foundry, and he made a comment that based on what Microsoft and Sony are doing, but especially Microsoft, because their games are day and date on PC, but because of what these consoles are doing, he expects there to be a line in the sand where everybody on PC is just forced to upgrade, and it's like one of those Horizon events where like it just happens, and like you have, if you're going to keep up, you're going to have to upgrade or get left, and they're just going to stop messing around with these little low spec machines.
We've seen that a lot with tech. You know, it's just that natural progression. It happens with some tech, and it's like either you move forward or you get left behind, and that's going to end up happening.
But my problem is, I mean, we had Optimus on here a month ago, one of my favorite shows we've done, where we talked about this design thing, and I just don't know when these developers are going to start specifically designing for SSD, like taking that full advantage. For decades, they've been making masterclass games working around what they have to do with a circular mechanical drive.
It's a slow process. Think about it like this, Colt. Think about it like this. Look at the progression that you had from, say, VHS to DVDs to Blu-rays to 4K Blu-rays. Like people, you know, it takes time, but it'll basically get phased out eventually.
Yeah. And too, those mechanical drives you're talking about, they're still not even maxed out to this day when it comes to game streaming. So, I mean, I think that executives and rich people especially like money, and that there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not exactly a great incentive for them to say, you know what, 90% of our audience, go fuck yourself. You know, like
no, it's going to take a while.
Yeah, so I do think, though, knowing how PC gamers are, though, to be honest with you, they're going to make a big stink about this because they're having a hard time dealing with the fact that the PlayStation 5 has a better SSD than what's in their systems, first of all. So they're not taking that news too well.
It's $100 or $150 to buy a smallish SSD and add it to your
It'll
PC.
get cheaper
It'll take
too.
5 minutes.
But even the M.2 port,
Optimus is going to say something.
It's not just the PS. The Xbox's I/O architecture is also better than the PC.
Yes.
And it's because of the whole velocity thing, the hardware decompression. Like that doesn't exist on a PC. There's no shit you can get that will decompress your assets on the fly. There are workarounds because they have so much more RAM potentially and CPU, but it's like the I/O architecture itself of the Series X is also
true. And I know people have issues sometimes with holding on to, you know, the tech and being used to what they're used to, but this is just a natural progression. This is how it happens. This is how tech, you know, it goes forward. And if not, I mean, then we'd be just stagnant, right? We'd be playing the same type of games forever.
Yeah. So here's the thing, y'all. I mean, like, and you'll be able to look and see this for yourselves. It's going to take like an indie developer. Most developers that are funded by a publisher, they don't get to make the decision what they're targeting. The publisher decides who we're going after, what is our demographic. It is the developers who will actually want to push the envelope, but they'll be contractually obligated where they can't. Indies don't really have those same limitations, so indie developers are the ones that are a little more courageous, and they'll go ahead, like the Star Citizen, for example, they'll go ahead and make the requirement because they don't have anyone threatening legal action if they abandon some of the base. So it's probably going to be an indie title that catches everybody by surprise, that looks really good, and then more and more publishers will be persuaded that, hey, maybe we do want to push the envelope a little bit.
Let me jump in this. I actually think we're forgetting about a big thing, and that is there needs to be a game that actually does push the envelope. And I'm not talking about just like an indie game. I'm talking about a massive game. Like Fortnite would need to redo what they do and make their game push boundaries that will force people to upgrade.
You mean
like we got to look back at
like game?
I'm saying a popular game
boundaries wouldn't be Fortnite.
Well, that's what I'm saying. All those games on PC, like Fortnite, World of Warcraft, Counter-Strike, all those games are not fucking. You can run those on potatoes. And those are the main majority of people that play those games, and PUBG and all the other ones. They don't take a lot. You can play these on mobile games. You can play this on a mobile device. Like that's the whole point. Is that so? If the graphics want to get pushed, it is going to be a single player game.
You're saying there's got to be a must-have title.
There's got to be a must-have title. I'm saying there's got to be at least 2 must-have titles that the market tells them, hey, we want this kind of game. Because Counter-Strike 1.6 was around for fucking years, and people played that.
You mean like some game that's bigger in scope than we've ever?
It's not bigger in scope. I'm just saying where people like the minimum spec gets pushed up, and you can run it on kind of like a not a very powerful PC, but it looks good.
Sorry about what I just did to that rabbit.
Like Counter-Strike 1.6 would like look like crap. So then they brought CS:GO because they upgrade the fidelity, they upgrade the resolution, they upgrade a lot of things to compete with all the competitive shooters out there, and the game looked better. But the whole point is that they needed competition of that, and I don't think there's competition on the PC market because they want everybody to play. World of Warcraft, they want everybody. Fortnite, they want everybody. Well, so the consoles are going to push the boundaries, but single player games are not the biggest sellers when it comes to PC gaming. It's really the freaking thing PC that you see. Gaming. Well, you do. So,
Zocker, how long?
Zocker, I'm surprised Zocker didn't pull out that energy sword from Doom. What'd you say about my preferred platform?
What'd you say, bitch? No, I'm just saying, like, I think that's what it is. I think that, yeah.
And who do you think that would be? Like, if you had to guess, who do you think is in the best position to make that stance that you're talking about?
To move
to make that stance, it doesn't matter who. That's the point, Optimus, is that it's always a game that comes out of nowhere, like a Fortnite, like a Counter-Strike. Like Steam exists only because of Counter-Strike and how popular it was. Epic Store exists because of how popular Fortnite is. Battle.net, the launch thing, only exists because of how popular World of Warcraft is. We don't know who the fuck it is. It could be a random person that just makes a game that blows up, and then there you go.
Games.
Like if it's like, let's say like if Halo makes something like that secret Halo game, whatever. Like if they make something that like completely changes and everybody wants to play it, then it's going to be them. Like the job posting out there that they put for a
that was already debunked.
But anyways, let's just say something like that. Like if Halo does something in multiplayer that puts it back on the map, or any game, who knows? Even Sony, if they make a multiplayer game.
Zocker, just say that it's a must-have title. Holy fuck!
That's it, fuckface.
All right, shit.
Well, usually what happens,
if Zocker talks long enough, like maybe he can make this game. Like he's talking it into existence. I'm like inventing it.
Chad, let us know what you think about Zocker's little fucking. He's out on a football field giving a speech to The Rock. Like, what the fuck is happening right now? Hey, I want to give a shout out to 1,900. Says 1,900 people. I don't know. I'll just say around 2,000 people watching live. Guys, hit that like button if you haven't. Hit show this to somebody. I don't know. Share it on the forum. Retweet it. Help out a little bit. Thank you so much for what you do. And shout out to all the chat. Let us know what you think about all the topics so far. And of course, hit that like button. Let's try to get to 1,000 likes by the end of the show. We do appreciate it. You guys rock. Of course, we're going to go ahead and move the fuck on because we've been on this one for a minute. Xbox Digital Direct, real quick. This is a new way to redeem your codes with new systems. I'm guessing it's all tied to your serial number. So let's say you get the Cyberpunk Xbox. While you're setting that Xbox up, it'll basically say, hey, you have access to Cyberpunk for free. It knows what codes would have come in the box. No more entering the codes like you did off the sheets.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. So you'll turn that on, Optimus, when you get a Cyberpunk box. It'll tell you have Cyberpunk for free. Do you want to redeem it? Boom, no codes. And it'll do that for Game Pass. It'll do that for everything in that box if you want it. And if you don't redeem it when you're setting the box up, you can redeem it later in the settings of the box.
Huh.
This is good and bad.
A QR code or something? What do you mean box?
Like I'm guessing they basically know the serial number of the box and they know what comes for free in the box, like the Game Pass trial. If it's the Cyberpunk
if you
console,
bought it, the entitlement is attached to your account since you bought it or something.
Okay. Once you install, when you're doing the install, it'll ask you, do you want to install it? It's going to tie it to your account. There's no way.
So this is shout out to Ricari in the chat.
Ricari, why aren't you in here?
Ricari?
Fuck.
Yeah.
So
speaking of that, I gotta go, guys. I have to go to work, so unfortunately, I gotta leave.
All right, buddy.
Is Dave gonna say
later,
goodbye?
100 subs in a night.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, see you later, Fonz. Keep putting out them videos, and shout out to Ricari Austin for hanging out in the chat, guys. Again, we
shout out to Jay Doe saying Zalker gets paid by the word.
Word.
He's like, there's a Counter-Strike, the League of Fortnites.
Oh no, Zocker's good.
Yeah.
So this Direct, what's it called again? Direct Access. I forgot what it's called already. It's
Xbox
good.
Digital Direct.
Digital Direct. It's good for convenience, but you can't sell the code. Like it's not good. It's good if you bought the Cyberpunk console because you get the game for free and a piece of DLC. Like that's great. That's why you bought it, right? So it saves you $60. But let's say you buy. Let's say you buy a bundle in holiday of the Xbox Series X and it comes with Minecraft, Sea of Thieves, and Halo Infinite. And you're like, I don't want Minecraft or Sea of Thieves. I already own them, or I don't like those games. You have to have them. But you can't really sell codes as easily. eBay doesn't really want
Code,
you to.
Are you giving people lessons on how they can't be cheap anymore with this? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, like you could buy the Fallout 76 Xbox One X last year for like $379 before it was cheaper or something like that.
Sell the game for $3
but you have to pay someone $10 to take the code for Fallout 76. So what they've done is they've given you this convenience so you don't have to punch in the code, but it takes away your freedom to hand the code to a buddy, give it away on Twitter.
That's a good point.
At the same time, though, you can just log into, if you're a good enough friend with them, you can just log into their account and it'll automatically be added to their game library. So it's the first count that redeems the code that it goes to. So it's a little bit more difficult that you couldn't like to like a fucking random Joe. But at the same time, if you know the person, hey, give me $10, whatever. Log into your account here.
We're back. Are we back?
Jeez.
Yeah.
We're back.
Like, are we
Sorry, while you guys
now?
were gone, Tim told us about all of the girls that he liked in high school. You guys missed it.
Yeah, one of them had a mustache.
He just told us the whole Xbox event in July. Damn.
I'm still not 100% certain that we're back, though, are we? Because, I mean, how does that work with OBS?
Somebody
said refresh. Just give it a second, and the chat will let us know.
We're definitely live.
Back. It says back. Yes, back.
Yeah.
Dealers.
I had to take the stream down for talking smack to me, guys. That's what I did.
Sorry, guys.
Dealer strikes again.
Dealer unhooked his SSD from his PC, so everything's down.
Yeah, my SSD fell out.
So, Tim, let's take it back to Tim. Tim was explaining.
Let me hear where we're at here. So, like, are we
sorry, while you guys, we'll give it to Tim. Tim was explaining about what he thinks of Digital Direct codes.
We're
definitely back because
I think it's a 50-50 thing. People who like to have the code to give away, obviously, and to do what they want with it, it does take that away from you. So you could say that that's negative, but if you really want to do it, you could do the workaround that D says. But that requires the person's password and you sign into the name and registering that console to him. It's kind of risky. But overall, for convenience, if you really don't care, with the games there, I mean, I like that idea, but I don't like the idea of losing the freedom to do what you code. Because I personally, I have it, and it's coming to me. And I said I was going to give it away to the show. I can't do that now.
That's a good point, Tim Dog. I guess we are back, by the way, chat. Thanks for hanging in there. I don't know what's going on today. I got a little leprechaun behind my entertainment center or something. I have no clue.
I bought an Xbox One S for my kids like 2 years ago. It was really cheap, and it came with Forza 6, 3 games, and I took the Forza 6 code out of that and installed it on my account and gave them the other 2 games. Like, just having that freedom is really cool. And
yeah.
I almost wonder why Microsoft would say, hey, this is more convenient, but takes away an option. And someone said
you're not
in the chat that game gifting is on the way. Maybe that has something to do with it. But
well, remember those surveys where they were asking people, like, game gifting was a part of the original vision, right? So I wouldn't doubt that, but at the same time, like, I don't know. Hang on, game gifting. Don't we already have game gifting?
Yeah, I mean, you do it all
the time.
I think
you can purchase for someone else, but not necessarily just gift them something that you have.
So they mean gift a code that you don't want. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, hey, again, guys, sorry for the technical difficulties. Thanks to everybody who's rocking out with us, guys, and those who've come back to the stream. We're back. I don't know what the fuck happened. Hit that like button if you haven't. Share with a buddy or two. Help me out today. I'm struggling, apparently. And shout out to everybody in the chat as well, including Matt Hatter. He says, excited for the new gamer pick on it. RDX rocks. Thank you so much, sir. Do appreciate it. Let's go ahead and talk about a little Lockhart action. Xbox Lockhart. People, for some reason, don't think this thing is real. Again,
is it real?
We've always said it's real. It's definitely real. Know people who've talked to, who've literally touched the box. Talked to 2 people that have touched the box. The Xbox Lockhart code leaks in Windows libraries database. I had seen this a long time ago, or a version of it. It was actually a white background. This is definitely real, and the code name is actually found in Windows registries as well, which is a big part of how a lot of people knew that this thing existed in the first place. What are your thoughts on this, Cold Eastwood? Because we've been, again, I made that video in June 2018 where Brad Sams thought the second box is a streaming box. I proposed that, hey, what if it's the same APU, lesser GPU power, some spec changes, a couple $100 difference? Ever since then, we've been talking about this thing for 2 years. Turns out they were actually doing that exact thing, to the point where Rand came to me and said, did you talk to anybody about this when you threw this theory out there? Right? And we kind of thought that was funny because we were so ahead of the curve on this shit. What are your thoughts on this coming back again? And people are just so confused because it hasn't been announced yet. But, obviously, if they had the same mentality as they did in 2016, as I said in my last video, they'll tell you about Lockhart before you can buy Series X because they don't want you pissed off that you bought Series X when you could have had Lockhart. They did the same thing with the S and the X.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked about this a couple of times because we have been covering it for a while. It's been over a year and a half. My big stance is, I felt like I said this last week, but I really think that they need to put the Lockhart and the Xbox Series X out on the shelf same day. If it's November 2020, those both need to hit the shelves same day. They don't need to wait a year. They don't need to wait 6 months.
It can't hurt him, can it? I don't see how it could hurt him. Give him a cheaper entry point, right?
I think it would hurt them to put it out later, a lesser powerful one for cheaper later. Like, what you're missing out on the majority of the sales. Like, I think it was your video. It was your video on Monday where you said that 5% of the Xbox owners over the past couple of years were buying Xbox One S's, not the Xbox One X. So they give you that opportunity to buy the most powerful console to get the better experience, but all the sales are going on the $299 box.
And that's how it works today.
So
yeah.
that's my big soapbox. Is if anybody's listening, if they're wondering, when should we release this? No, the same day. It needs to come out the same time. That's the whole point of the Lockhart.
D-Batch, what are your thoughts, buddy? Well said, D-Batch. Optimus, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm one of the
fucking
ones.
D-Batch, the most talented.
Sorry, man. I had to step away. Sorry.
Go ahead,
Go
Optimus.
ahead, D.
He didn't hear the question, I don't think, so I'll come back to him.
All right, so I'm one of the ones that will owe you an apology when and if it comes out because I don't believe it's real. It's not that I don't believe it's real. I just hope it's not real. I don't understand the reason for it. Like,
You don't get why there's an Xbox One S today?
What? No, let me be clear. So the marketing message for the Xbox One X is 4K.
Mm-hmm.
The marketing message for the new Series X is 4K 60. I'm not sure what the marketing message is for this thing called Lockhart. I'm not
I've
talking
seen the
about
slide. It's marketed towards. I've seen the slide on it actually. It's marketed towards 1080p, and it's marketed towards new console gamers, and that price is king, really.
But then the One X can do that already. So
but that's getting phased out.
Well, but until it does, I don't know who that Lockhart is for. I just don't understand the marketing message for it. It seems like it has to have either the same marketing message as the One X or somewhere between the One X and the Series X, and I just can't figure out what that.
I mean, who is the
advertise for it? The One X can do for cheaper.
But who is the Xbox One S all digital for? Like, it's a very, very specific customer, and it happens to be the biggest customer base, that one that seeks value. The Lockhart is the cheaper alternative, you know.
And the other
Code is breaking up hard. You sound like a Decepticon right now.
Let me jump in real quick then. My thoughts on it are, I do believe it exists. The code is there, so it's like we can't deny it anymore. Like it's in the OS, so it does exist. I think its purpose is be a cheaper alternative to obviously the Xbox Series X, because we're thinking it's going to be about $500. We're expecting the PlayStation 5 to be like $399. So I would expect the Lockhart to be like $300 at would say at the very least $300 for that console, but it will target 1080p, 60 frames per second, 1440p, maybe a variable refresh rate. I don't know if it'll achieve 60 frames per second, maybe 1440p 30 some games, 60 some other games. Regardless, it's a cheaper alternative to play next generation games on.
But
now
you're not asking who is it what is the marketing? You're talking about what it can do. The question is, what is the marketing message for? What are the commercials? What is the message for?
Well, what are they like?
I think the message is going to be able to play the next generation games.
No, that's different.
Require SSD, that require ray tracing at a lower resolution.
Well, I think you guys are overcomplicating it. They don't market the S today. What they do is they market the best box. Then they say starting at $149.99. It's not that complicated. Like, the price does the marketing, right?
Well, no, because I have a 1X that I bought because of a marketing message, and I'm also going to buy a Series X because of a marketing message. And
you're buying that either way, Code. Come on.
Okay, I'll be quiet.
Just think about a Honda Civic. They have like 3 models. Let's just say they have the DX, the EX, and the SI. People who know what they want. Some people shop by price. 24,000 you get the base model. 28,000 you get everything, like power this, power everything. And the SI you get the VTEC, all the aluminum alloy rims, like all that stuff, right? It's not that complicated. Nearly every single product on the market, no matter what, has more than one model except for the PlayStation.
Well, the PlayStation has more than one now.
Yeah. Even PlayStation has the PlayStation 4 has multiple, has a Slim and a Pro. So like, this isn't that big of a deal. And Dealer nailed it. I never thought about that, about how they say starting at, because you can't say the Xbox Series X, the cheaper one,
not as good as the one you saw.
Yeah.
If we look at PC real quickly though, as much as I hate that damn card, 1060 and I would say now maybe like 1660 is taking its place. Those are like the most popular cards, and they're like the cheapest cards, but they do 1080p 60. And you got 2080 Ti's that are far superior. 2070 Supers, 2080s don't sell as much as that card. So
now remember that velocity is going to go between those 2 boxes, and you're even going to be able to transfer those cartridges from the back of your Series X to your Lockhart.
Price and options, they do matter. Now it won't matter to us because we want the best shit, but there's people out there that are on a budget that can't afford the Xbox Series X, and then they or maybe they can't afford the PlayStation 5, and they get the Lockhart, or maybe they want 2 consoles and they opt for the PlayStation 5 and the Lockhart, or whatever. It's an option. I think it'll sell if it's at the right price point. If it can deliver it at 60 frames per second and give us a lot of the features that the Xbox Series X has, but obviously a lower tier and like lower resolution, it'll be fine.
Yeah. KY Bob, by the way, real quick, let me give KY a shout out and I'll come back to you. Just shout out to the panel, the amazing panel, and the guy behind the curtains, busting heads, the lethal, all the mods, all you guys do work, man. It's a massive chat for a very limited amount of people that are moderators. And we want to give a big shout out to those guys. It's a fantastic show as always, even if YouTube isn't playing nice tonight. Thank you so much, sir. Yes. And again, thanks to you guys for putting up with that. Zalker, you were in the middle of telling us about how you love PC gaming more than console.
Yeah, 100%. I like 60 frames per second, like you. No, if they don't announce the Lockhart in June or July, I have no idea what they're doing, because they need to start like kind of talking about this, showing this console, showing what it can do, and then just bringing it out and marketing it like Optimus is saying. They need to do everything to actually, because they haven't talked about it. They don't bring it up. They talk about one console and it's great, but you need to have something where it comes out at the same time. Like I think Tim said last week or the week before that he thought like maybe the strategy is they'll bring out the Series X, and then when PlayStation 4 or 5 launches a little later, they'll bring out the Xbox Series S to compete like lower price. But I think if they just bring it out together is the best strategy.
And so they need to announce them before they come out, obviously. So.
Oh, they need to announce it. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like that's. I don't know if they announce it in August, that's freaking terrible. But I'm saying, like, if they don't announce it in the next month or two, I don't know what's happening. I don't even know if they're going to bring it out at that point.
Well, Jez Corden has a great theory that Lockhart has not been shown yet because they're at high noon standoff with Sony. They don't want to show Lockhart yet because they want Sony to go ahead and say, here's the PS5, here's the price point. Then they'll draw from the holster and say, we have Lockhart.
I don't even think that's the case because, I mean, Sony knows there's a Lockhart. Sony's not stupid.
Well, they're not talking price, so they're both standing there looking at each other's eyeballs. You shoot first.
One's 5, one's 3. Like, I feel like Sony, give Sony more credit. Sony know exactly what Microsoft are doing, and Sony either have a counter, a low-end SKU of their own that we don't know about, or they don't give a fuck, which is probably the case. So I think Sony's smart. They're coming at 4, Series X at 5, Lockhart at 3.
You're still on the 400 PlayStation 5 wagon there?
Yes, I am.
Panel, where you at?
I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't give a shit, but I mean, that's where I'm at.
I mean, we're trying to convince you to 5. He's at 400 for the PS5. Where are you at, Zucker? Real quick down the panel.
450.
450.
Tim Dog, where you at for PS5 price?
I don't care.
$499. $499.
Okay, D-Batch, it's your board.
$1. No, I think honestly, I really do think they want to price it at $499. I think that's what the price of the Xbox Series X is going to be. So I'm gonna have to say $450.
All right, so there's 2 L's. What about
Optimus?
I think both Microsoft and Sony gonna come in at $399.
Right. And did we get everyone? Is that everyone? Chat, let us know your thoughts on that. What price do you think the systems are coming in at? And again, shout out to everybody. Yosemite, by the way, says Xbox is more concerned about the price than the PlayStation. If Lockhart is real, go wild with the $249 or bust. A $300 Lockhart and a $400 PS5 are not no bueno. I would disagree. They do it today with the base PS4 and the PS4 Slim and the Xbox One S and the PS4 Pro, and there's margins all over the place. People don't care. They want what they want, right? So if you can offer a cheaper version of that, then that's not a bad option, especially if that lowest common denominator there isn't going to be lower than what's on PC. So,
well, Fonz, we forgot to get Fonz, and he just texted me. He said, Sea of Thieves is the best new IP this generation. Thanks, Fonz. And then he said $4.99.
Well,
or $5.99.
$5.99? What?
I'm joking. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, hey, we're going to give a shout out to 2,000 people that are tuned in tonight. All right. I saw it up near 2,000 when it was working right. I want to say thanks to all of you, everyone who hit the like button, contributed to the show. Info Aquasafe, you fucking pimp. And of course, everyone who dropped super chats and stuff like that. You guys are crazy. You're fueling my guitar addiction and getting us all through the pandy. And we do appreciate it, guys. Best chat in the universe and one of the biggest podcasts in the world now. Thanks to you guys. So thanks for doing what you do. Check out the links down below. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, support everybody here. We're going to do some outros. And again, thanks for what you guys do. We're all dying slowly, if you can't tell, with all our technical issues and stuff. So, again, chat, you guys rock. Let us know your thoughts after the show renders and stuff. I want to start with, we're going to start with Tim Dog tonight as an outro because Tim Dog didn't get to say a whole lot. But there's not a ton of topics this week, Tim. And we still went pretty long. Thanks for being here, of course. It sucks you couldn't be here last week when Paris from Gamertag Radio was on.
I listened to most of it. It was very good. But I'm happy to be here. It's just like I said, this week, like you said, it's a little dead week. But we have a lot of news coming, so we'll have a lot to talk about next week. You can find me on Twitter, xCloudTimDog. That's about it. Just been just doing the diet thing and concentrating on that. It's a little tough, but you got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just keep at it, man. Me Soul. Oh my god. Some of these names, man. Me Soul. I'm not even gonna say it, man. Thanks to the $5 super chat. He said Series X is $600 USD. It's not. It's $5. If Lockhart releases, if not, then they price match Sony. Yeah, I mean, again, they do this stuff today, man. So think about it. There's no reason for them to, especially when they already do it with the S and the X today. That doesn't mean they're just going to shoot the fucking price up there because they have a lower alternative. Plus, I was told, and I think Tim was told, they're not going to fuck up on the price and all that stuff. So they know what they're doing, and they may just surprise you. And, of course, we've got Mr. Nasty Dingle. Of course, one of the most creepy YouTube names ever. Shout out to you, buddy. He says, I understand the $399 for the PS5 and the $499 for the Series X. Theory, Sony is spending more on their cooler than and audio and SSD prices controller. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where they could even take a loss. I don't know, but if you come in next to Series X with that kind of performance delta, which is math, then, you know, GPU, CPU, that's not up for debate. Sorry. It is what it is. That's what pushes pixels and visuals to your screen. And they've got more memory bandwidth on top of that, substantially more. You can't come in at the same price there. And if they do, that's actually Microsoft's best. That's going to be really good for Microsoft if that happens. So, again, that's my opinion. Let us know yours in the chat. And we're going to keep moving on here. D-Batch, where have you been playing, buddy? Where can people find you?
I've been playing COD, and I actually picked up the Mortal Kombat 11 DLC. It's pretty good. Love that game. You guys can find me on Twitter at D_batch, and of course at YouTube at D-Batch. Great show. Thanks for coming on Optimus Code, and it's great seeing you guys, or talking with you guys this week.
Yes, it is. Cold Eastwood, buddy. Congrats on 100K. What have you been playing? Where can people find you, bud?
I've been playing a whole bunch of Red Dead 2 online and redoing the story, and I like it even more than I did the first time around. It's crazy. So looking forward to new games this summer. So you can see.
Can you tell us all when the new games will be here? Because I'm really ready.
I mean, in a couple weeks we have The Last of Us 2, and then I don't know, Minecraft Dungeons DLC.
Don't forget Paper Mario, man. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm trying to forget Paper
in the
Mario.
house. Yeah, I've got 2 Switches in the house, and I don't even really use them. So I need to check out something that I'll actually, like to play on there. Who knows? I don't know. It's just it's a different platform, really. People always ask like why we don't talk about the Switch Nintendo games.
Because I don't give a fuck about Nintendo. That's why.
I mean, I know those games are amazing, but
yeah, to some people. But Witcher 3 decapitated Zelda. Sorry. So let's go ahead and move forward to Optimus Co, buddy. Thanks for being a guest again. Sorry, it's kind of a weird show. All kinds of problems and shit and pacing issues as a result. But again, you're always welcome in. I made you an RDX associate. You can jump in whenever. And, you're a real one. Like I always say, man, no matter what, I hear you correcting people on other podcasts about the shit that goes on here because you are informed and they're not. We do appreciate it, man. And again, thanks for coming on and sharing your perspective and knowledge on things.
Well, man, I appreciate it. And Cole, again, congrats on 100,000. And one thing, as far as Xbox fans, one thing I think that everyone's missing or that they're not focusing on, but they should be. I don't remember Microsoft's name for it, but their equivalent for DLSS really paid close attention to the machine learning, upsampling images so that
direct
you can
ML.
play it. Yeah, the direct ML, absolutely. Yeah, pay strict attention to that because that is the real game changer that no one's talking about, and they should be.
Yeah,
great show, y'all.
I made, I think it was a 15-minute video on this, and the guy said that because of machine learning, direct ML, they can actually take a low res, very small texture, and up-res it because of the I/O of the box in real time, without actually having to make you download any 4K assets and get essentially the same result.
Absolutely, you can play in 1080p, and it looks as good as or better than 4K, and then that frees up way more processing for other things. So don't sleep on that, man. That is definitely a game changer.
Definitely. But I mean, where can people find you, man? And what have you been playing?
Oh man, that stuff's not important. But I've been playing.
It is important. Tell us.
I've been playing Final Fantasy remake, Final Fantasy 7 remake. I'm trying to get done with that on Xbox. Me and the grandkids been playing Minecraft Dungeons, having a blast.
Follow Optimus Code at Optimus Code on Twitter, okay? He's being a humble fuck right now. But yeah, you can find him on Twitter. And then we've got Zalker87. Where can people find you and what have you been playing?
Ben, thanks for having me on again. A lot of fun. Chat, you guys are awesome. You can find me at Twitter at Zalker87, on YouTube, Zalker87. And I've been playing the shit out of Minecraft Dungeons. I think I'm going for the 1,000 on that. I've been really enjoying it. Then I've been playing Sea of Thieves a lot too. And The Last of Us. That game is really slow. I'm sorry to say it, but it is. And you have to just don't talk to anybody. You just got to play it that way. Like I've been playing it just by myself, getting into the story, and then jumping into Minecraft right after. It's great. So yeah, thanks for having me on, and everybody's awesome.
Thank you again. You know who should be on your show? Zalker87. He's been on the podcast for a year. I actually got a message like a couple months back by the chat. Like somebody's like, yeah, I watch your show all the time. You know who you should have on your podcast? Zalker87. I'm like,
well, they don't
holy.
see me because I'm always sitting on the floor.
You're never on the floor, all right? And secondly, your voice is so annoying they could never forget.
Oh damn!
No, I told him. I said Zachary was born on the podcast. How do you not know this? So I mean, again,
little baby
umbilical cord and everything.
little baby Zocker, always searching for new blood. Found Zocker in the dumpster, and look at him now. So again, shout out to fantastic panel, Tim Dog, except for Tim Dog. Fuck Tim, he left. And of course, all you guys are awesome. And thanks to the special guest code, we're gonna get off here and go die or something. Chat, thanks for what you do. Hit the like button, share it out. We're out.
Later, everybody.
See ya.